Hey there, welcome to the Millennial Book Junkie. My name is Monique, and today I want to share with you my top books of 2024. 2024 was the year that I really started reading again. It's currently not over. It's December, end of December, so we've got a couple more days left of the year, but I really wanted to share all the books that I really loved this year. I love reading horror, I love reading thriller, but every once in a while I will dabble into, one of my book club picks that's not horror and thriller. Sometimes it's just really good fiction. And so I just wanted to showcase the 5 books that I read this year that I really enjoyed and that I hope you will pick up in 2025. Because these ones are ones that I still think about and they live rent-free in my head still, and you definitely should pick them up if you have not already. I wish I could rank these. I don't even know which one to start with, so I'm just gonna pull them at random because they were all so good. I can't even rank them. So the first book that I'll share with you that was my top of 2024 is a classic that I'm sure every person who loves horror and thriller books has read already, The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. Oh my God, I love this book so much. I read it this month in December, and I think it's actually perfect for a December read because it looks all Christmassy and red and cream, and I read this book in about 4 or 5 days. It was about a woman who shoots her husband in the face 5 times, and after that she stops speaking. And so this psychotherapist decides that he's going to try and help her and try and get her to speak. And when I tell you the twist in this book threw me for a loop, it threw me for a loop. I actually finished this book while I was running. I'm training for a half marathon, so I finished this book on audio while I was running, and I kid you not, while I was running, I was like, oh my God, like while I was running, because I did not see the twist in this book coming. I feel like as a horror and thriller reader, I'm pretty good at figuring out like who's the bad guy, like sometimes from the very beginning. And halfway through this book, I literally thought I knew who the bad guy was, and I flipped back to the beginning. I'm like, oh, it's totally this person. Like, I already have it, I already know. No, I did not know. And if you haven't read The Silent Patient yet, you really need to. If you're looking for something that gives you a twist and throws you for a loop. But I'm pretty sure a lot of people have already, so if you've already read it, let me know. Did you know about this twist? Because I sure as heck did not. So one of my favorite books of 2024 for sure. The next one is The Quiet Tenant by Clemence Michelon. I loved this book. When I think of this year and just books that really kept me thinking about them, it's this book. The Quiet Tenant was about a serial killer who decides that he's gonna keep one of his victims in the shed behind his house. So instead of killing her, he keeps her in his shed for 5 years. And a shed doesn't have any windows. It has one door. And so basically she's chained in this shed for 5 years. And he keeps her alive. He does what he wants with her. He feeds her. He lets her, wipe herself. And that's pretty much it. Well, he's got a family in his house who does not know that there is a young girl chained to inside of a shed in their backyard. And so his wife dies, and then he's like, well, I have to move. And so him and his daughter decide to move. Well, he brings the woman, the victim, with him and explains to his daughter that she's just someone that's living with them. And it just becomes very awkward and suspenseful for this woman who has been a victim for 5 years to now be around, his daughter and pretend like nothing's happening. It's a weird book. I love it. It's one of those ones where it kept me tense like a good amount of the time when I was reading it, and I could not put it down. Please read The Quiet Tenant by Clemence Michelon. She's also coming out with a new book in 2025 called Our Last Resort. This is her first book, so I'm really excited to read her second one. Also follow her on Instagram. She's really fun to watch and follow, and I like just keeping up with authors' lives on Instagram. It's like my favorite thing. So she seems really cool, and if you have not read The Quiet Tenant, I would say it's a must read. Very, very good. I really liked it. The next book that I read that I really, really loved in 2024 came out a long time ago, like, I don't know, 7 years ago. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I really loved this book. It was not in the horror thriller genre, but it was a book club pick, and I just really enjoyed it. It's about a young writer whose name is Monique, and she is interviewing an old Hollywood icon to kind of get her story of her life. And the icon is Evelyn Hugo. We learned what it was like to be a Hollywood starlet in the 1950s. Evelyn Hugo kind of shares her backstory, her whole life story with this writer, and all about her husbands and, you know, which is the husband that she loved the most. And it was a very good book. It's one of those books where you kind of learn what it's like to be famous. And I really like stuff like that because, you know, sometimes I always think of famous people as like having everything they've ever wanted and they have this glamorous lifestyle, and that is not the case. So really, really loved this book. I would definitely recommend reading it if you have not, but I'm sure most people have read it by now, but I really, really enjoyed it. And when I see it in my bookshelf, I just get so happy. So this one was really good this year. The next book that I really loved in 2024 that I've recommended to a lot of people is Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby. I follow a booktuber named Danny Reads, and she loves S.A. Cosby, and she is the one that actually turned me on to S.A. Cosby. And she's like, you have to read this book. So I read it and I loved it. This story follows two men who have lost their sons, and their sons were married. And these two men did not approve of their sons marrying each other. And when their sons get brutally murdered, they're basically on the hunt for vengeance of who killed their sons. And it is just so good. The audiobook of this one is really good. Reading it was really good, but the audiobook is even better. And you really feel like you're in the story, and whoever does the narration in the audiobook is just so, the voice is perfect for each of the characters. It's so good. And this is the book I recommend to people who are like, I'm in a reading slump. This one is just top 5 for this year, top 5 for a while. Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby. Okay, and the final book that I read this year that was like my top was Lisa Scottolini's What Happened to the Bennetts. Really, really loved this book. It read like an action movie. It's about a family who is driving home from like a soccer practice or something from one of their kids, and they're on this like dark road and it's like snowing or whatever, and they get carjacked and they have to be put in a witness protection program. So they get carjacked, bad stuff happens, and then they're thrown into a witness protection program, and they have to basically get new identities. Their whole life is just discarded and they have to start this new life. And they kind of realize this witness protection program is not what they thought. And the dad, I think his name's Jason Bennett, basically takes matters into his own hands, and things get crazy. It's like a book that you would expect like Tom Cruise to play the hero in, like the dad. It's like an action political thriller. It is so good. And I kind of just wish that I could read it again, but I usually don't read books twice because unless it's been a while, but this is one I would read again if I did do that. So good. So if you haven't gotten your hands on this one, or if you haven't read any Lisa Scottolini, read her. This is really good. She also has a book coming out next year called The Unraveling of Julia, and that one I'm looking forward to as well. But I know she's got other books out that I just need to read because she's really good. So definitely pick up some Lisa Scottolini if you haven't. And so those were the books, my top 5 books of 2024 that I so loved. More recently, The Silent Patient, which I'm still reeling from. I can't stop thinking about that book. It was so good. I know that author has more books out. Like I think 2 books out, The Fury and The Maidens, and I need to read those, but this book just had me. So yeah, these were my favorites of 2024. Have you read these? And what were your favorites of 2024? Let me know in the comments. And if you like this type of content, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.